because we were like sitting there talking, like commending Israel for warning people before they bomb them. It's just, what? This is satire. This is satire. The fact that like they are killing people and they feel sad about it. And then I read about it. There's an expression in Hebrew called yorim v'bushim. Have you heard about it? Yorim v'bushim. It literally translates to shooting and crying. And it's like, it refers to a group of media and books and movies in the Israeli media when the soldiers talk about how sad they are for shooting people and shooting the enemy. We see that in American movies there. It's not about the thousands of people they killed, but it's all about the mental health of the soldiers who pulled the trigger. And that's why we tell like, oh, we're killing civilians. It's unfortunate. What? And they guilt trip you. I'm sorry, I want to say one thing, because I'm sure they said, remember how many times did they bring up Dresden or Hiroshima? It's like, oh, you did it, so we can do it too. So what's next? They enslave Palestinians, so like, what do you enslave black people?
But what I'm hearing from you is a lot of thought you have had about what Israel is doing, what Zionism represents to you. What perhaps I hear less of is your thoughts about Hamas and how you, as now an Arab American, but as an Egyptian too, how you relate to the Islamism and the commitment to violence and the commitment to establishing a Palestinian Islamic entity from the sea to the River Jordan, how you make sense of that, and whether you have a critique of that too, which you want to express, or whether you don't feel able to express that.
No.
This is an extremely biased and common line of questioning in the media. And basically what he's saying is, hey, you're talking all of this stuff about the Israelis, but what about the Palestinians and all the stuff they're doing to the Israelis? And the fact of the matter is, there is more than enough representation of the pro-Israeli side in the media, and it's so asymmetrical. The Palestinian side is not shown in the media at all, and barely, if any. And so what this gentleman, this British broadcaster is feeling is just a fraction of what the Palestinians have been feeling, where he's saying, hey, what about the Israelis? The Palestinians for decades have been saying, okay, the Israelis are getting all of the attention. What about us? And what about our side of the story? And so this is an interview I found of Bassem Youssef. I put all of the highlights together into a short video for you so you don't have to go watch the whole video. If you appreciate that, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Comment, it helps the engagement. Do a super chat, I'll respond to it. Now let's continue.
I'm sorry, did you say like an Islamic entity from the river to the sea? Did you say that?
I did.
But people who are shouting from the river to the sea are not really Islamic. And they don't, and many of them don't even agree with Hamas. The river to the sea is a Palestinian chant, it's not an Islamic chant. That's number one. Number two, from the river to the sea is not coined by the Palestinians, it's coined by the Israelis. It's in the Likud party chart in 1977. They say from the sea to the Jordan, there are only going to be Israeli sovereignty. So they coined the thing before that. Second of all, when I criticize Israel, I criticize it because it's in a position of power. I'm absolutely no fan of Hamas. And you know from my history in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood doesn't like me, and I don't like them either. I am against a theocracy, and I'm against like religion being in politics, and that's why I found it very hypocritical from Israel saying that we are a secular, democratic state, and at the same time, just like we are a Jewish state. What are you? Are you a theocracy or a democracy? Are you something like for the secular for everybody, or are you just like or exclusively for the Jews? And so that's why is it like when the West talks about everything, it's liberal, secular, democratic. Only when it comes to Israel, it's biblical.
Few interesting points that Bassem Youssef just made. First of all, this is so true. One of the biggest hypocrisies in the media is always saying, oh my God, these Palestinians just want to erase Israel. They're chanting river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Well, guess what? Guess who started that? It is Israel. Israel started small, and they said that greater Israel will eventually be from the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan River. And they're the ones who started this phrase, not the Palestinians. Now, the thing that Bassem Youssef says is that, is Israel a Jewish state or a democracy? And that is another hypocrisy and a contradiction. Because if you're a democracy, then everyone gets the same rights in a country. And Israel cannot be a democracy because there are way too many Palestinians. If they let in all the Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank, there's going to be more Palestinians most likely than there are Jewish people. And if that's the case, then it is no longer a Jewish state, because then the Palestinians would have more voting power, and then, where it goes from there. And so if you notice, actually, Israel doesn't really call itself a democracy anymore. I don't think many of you have noticed. They call themselves a Jewish state now, the only Jewish state in the world. Interesting.
Are you something like for the secular, for everybody, or you just like, or exclusively for the Jews? And so that's why is it like when the West talks about everything, it's liberal, secular, democratic. Only when it comes to Israel, it's biblical. Why? You know, that's the problem. Try to convince me that Israelis have more right in this land, more than Palestinian, without using religion. Liberal Zionists, they're all about, oh, we're atheists, we don't believe in God. But it is the God gave them to them. They're promised people, promised land, promised by whom? Of chosen people. Chosen by whom? The God, my God, your God, whose God?
So what I get is that you came to this country saying, you know what, I'm done with politics, I'm done with people's expectations that I can somehow deliver change because I am, in the end, just a comedian. And here you sit today with doubtless many Arab Americans, but indeed many Arabs in the Arab world, and particularly many Palestinians, now seeing you as a hugely important voice giving expression to their anger, their feeling that the international media is unfair, feeling that their message never gets through. Are you now feeling uncomfortable again that you've become a messenger?
I'm scared. I'm scared. And when people come to my shows, like, if you're expecting that I'm going to talk about Israel and Hamas, no, I've been working on my hour for 5 years. There is not a single joke in my... If you come to my show expecting that I'm going to speak about Piers Morgan and Israel, no. I tell that because I'm a comedian.
I'm actually interested in this interface between comedy and the most difficult subjects. And right now, one of the most difficult subjects in...
Before he goes further, I did want to make a point about what Bassem said a few seconds ago, where he said that, you know, they're the chosen people. By whom? The Bible. By whose Bible? Their Bible, whatever. So I always say that in this way, the Jewish people and the Christians, they're kind of enforcing their religion on everyone on the area. And this is precisely, for the longest time, what they've been blaming the Muslims of doing. Oh, Muslims forcing people into their religion when no one does that. And here they are forcing everyone to believe their Bible, that, the people of the Jewish faith are promised this land because it's in their Bible. And it's like, okay, none of the people in the area believe that. And since when is the United States a religious country? I thought it's a secular country. Oh, so what's going on there? Why are we backing Israel up so much on that? And just because Israel believes that is their God-given country doesn't mean that anyone else believes that, right?
In the world is what's happening in Gaza.
Yes.
For you as a comedian, is it possible to find laughs, to make jokes about what is happening?
In Australia, and I was sold out the Opera House. And then so they added 2 extra rows of chairs in front of the front row. And I went out and I said, like, and I started making jokes about, like, those people, the first row, they paid first row, and then suddenly they found people coming in and blocking their view. Like, and then I said, like, these are not extra chairs, these are illegal settlements, and people laughed. So you have, like, little things, you know. And by the way, and I can talk. Comedy doesn't have to be insulting, but you are interested about the interface of comedy and politics, and I'll tell you why this is important. You know, this whole thing about comedy and I make about PC, political. You cannot say this. You cannot joke about this. The same. Why can't we joke about what Israel is doing? And why is every joke or every criticism in Israel is like as if it's like an anti-Jewish sentiment? It is not. It is not. And this is the thing.
But I mean, it's interesting you say that, because on the one hand, I totally get it. As a comedian, you want to be free. You want to be free to address even the most difficult issues, because God knows, you know, the human experience does generate humor and laughs, however dark it may be. On the other hand, right now, we know, the figures suggest it's undeniable, that there's a spike in anti-Semitism in the United States, just as there is a spike in Islamophobia and attacks on Arab Americans. So I just wonder whether you as a comedian feel a responsibility to, you know, to tone it down, to find a language that isn't going to inflame, or do you have to ignore that?
People need to separate between criticism and comedy and between inciting for hate. You can make fun of Muslims right, left, and center, but there's difference between calling them they are terrorists, or this is different between comedy and real inciting terror. When I go out and I speak about the government, I can say whatever I want about the government because I say more about my government, right? You say more about your government. So, but it's the problem. It's the switch. Because, of course, there's a rise of anti-Semitism. I mean, I can never even imagine, like, a Jewish kid going to college and being shot in his spine because he spoke in Hebrew. Same way that happened to Hisham al-Awarta, like a Palestinian kid who was wearing kufi and was shot because he was speaking in Arabic in Vermont, in Brown University. And there are Jewish kids who are locked in their dorms because they're afraid to go out.
I just have to say, for legal reasons, I mean, those cases you refer to are terrible, but they are still under investigation, court cases.
Under investigation, court cases, nothing is final, but it's happening. I still didn't want to get in. But then when I saw the people, the pro-Israeli people talking on the media, and I got my blood was boiling, because it's like this is plain lies. This is plain lies, and I think it triggered something in me. I left Egypt because I was not able to say what's on my mind, and I came here for the land of the free, the home of the brave, where you can say anything you want, and then suddenly when you speak about certain things, you get accused of all things, right, left, and center. If I'm criticizing Israel, why is this anti-Semitic?
I never understood that, because no one bats an eye when you criticize the U.S. government. We're not a dictatorship. We have free press. People criticize the U.S. government all day, all night, either side, whether you're on the right or the left. Why can't you criticize Israel? I just don't understand. Even Israel can criticize Israel. So, like, why is it such a big deal in the U.S. when we do it?
Like when you criticize Saudi Arabia or Iran or Egypt, nobody calls you an Islamophobe, right? But it's only Israel. It's like this kind of like, you feel all of this like victimization, all of this like guilt tripping. Israel is a government, is a country, and I don't know why as an American I can say whatever I want about Trump or Biden, and then I come to Israel and all of these like booby traps that you cannot go into. It is unfair, and it's against the freedom of expression, and that is against the promise that America and the West give the people to tell them to come to us.
But
come here.
What you did, your approach to addressing this issue was fascinating, because, and let's name him, Piers Morgan, a British interviewer, colleague of mine in the media.
And he's very good at what he's doing.
Yeah, and what you did on his show was kind of subversive, because you went on an international TV show and using the darkest form of sort of satire and sarcasm that I can think of, you actually said, you know what, let them kill the Palestinians. They should even kill more. And you said, you know, I know Palestinians, my wife's family is Palestinian. It's impossible to kill them, but I keep trying. And there was this sort of edge of horrible sarcasm, dark sarcasm to what you were saying, which subverted the entire interview. How carefully did you think about what you were doing?
I don't know, because I was going there and I could be losing my career or losing... Actually, I lost stuff. Like after the Piers Morgan interview, I was cast to be in the movie Superman. And they talked to me about it, and I did my audition right before, one day before the strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike started. And then after the strike was released, I was in Australia, and then my agent said, like, oh, well, they changed the script, and we're not in the movie anymore.
I'm now being very careful with you, Bassem, because I'm not entirely sure. You were going to be in Superman.
No, I'm not as Superman, but like, I'm too old for that. But like, I was actually in a very good role, and I spoke to them, and it was, they loved my audition. They called me 1 hour after my audition, like, you got the role. And then I was very, and then I was very sad for a couple of days. I was angry. I was angry at Warner Brothers. I was angry at DC, and I was
because what you're basically saying they changed the role in a way that made it a role you didn't want to do anymore.
No.
Or were they actively saying?
No. I was cancelled from the home.
You're cancelled. Yeah, we don't want you.
But in Hollywood you can't really hold them for that, because that happens the whole time. They change scripts all the time, and so for part of me I was angry. And it's like, what? I lost a role in Superman, and that's a super horrible movie because what I had to say, because I voiced my opinion. So when I went on the Piers Morgan show, knowing that I can lose stuff, which I did, and also I can lose my people because if I didn't go hard enough, the only way that I did, you say that my satire was dark. You know why my satire was dark? Because reality was darker.
Back to you living now with your family in Los Angeles, an American citizen, and some will watch this and will think, this is the guy who lives in a country which sends, or is seeking to send, another $16 billion worth of assistance, military and other assistance to Israel, on top of the $4 billion a year it already sends to Israel. And yet this man says that he is proud to be an American, and he likes living in America.
Yes, I believe in the idea of America. America gave me that second chance. America was good to me. I am proud, and I want my kids to be raised as proud Egyptian Americans. I like America, the idea. What I don't like is American policies. What I don't like is the American government sabotaging this idea. So me as an American, I want to have a say in changing how the discourse of an American politics would do, so I would be more proud. When people criticize...
Except you're the Bassem Youssef who, at the beginning of this interview, said to me, Stephen, I want to be really clear with you, I'm a comedian, I don't seek to change things.
Yes, but the thing is, like, when it happens is that I don't want to be, you can change things by comedy, not...
Honestly, this is how a true American sounds, because when you actually think of the country as your own, you don't think about just running away, be like, oh, I don't like the policies, I'm going to go to a different country. You stick around and you know that in America, the cool thing is that you can make a difference. And when I see the TikTok generation, Gen Z and everything, and how pro-Palestine they are, I do believe that AIPAC will have a lot less influence by the time they get into politics. So I think that instead of running away, we can make a difference in the country.
By activism, meaning that I'm not going to run into like political rallies. I don't want to be part of this. But as an American, how do I feel when an American representative wears the uniform of the IDF? When my politicians that I vote to receive their money from special interest group, whether they're AIPAC or NRA. So suddenly my votes are gone to waste. So now people, and the Democrats are blackmailing us. It's like, oh, if you don't vote for Biden, Trump will come. So what have Biden done to us? And I actually coined a new name for Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Geriatric Genocide Biden. The guy is not even like good enough to be a genocide guy. He's geriatric. He's dementic, and I want him to go back down in history, losing this for people, because people need to understand.
Do
you cannot, yes.
As a significant voice in the Arab American community, you're telling me you want Joe Biden to lose.
I want him to lose. I don't care about Trump winning, but I want Joe Biden to win, because this guy, he's one of, we ask for him is ceasefire. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. How difficult is this? And then you try to blackmail us with reproductive rights and minority rights. And I said yesterday, if a woman, I hope that will never happen, if a woman loses her reproductive rights in Tennessee, she can go to California and get an abortion. If a woman in Gaza, she does have nowhere to go. So you are basically killing that. You're locking people in, and you're allowing the Israel, who's been a burden on American politics, a burden of American economy, a burden of economy of American best interests in the country.
And it doesn't bother you that Donald Trump, if he were watching this interview, would think, that's fantastic. I've got people like Bassem Youssef saying that he wants Joe Biden to lose the election.
I'm not going to be blackmailed into saying that I'm going to be enable Trump to win. The Democrats did that to themselves.
Just one more reminder, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps get the video out to a larger audience. Comment if you're enjoying this content as well. Now let's finish this video.
And they cannot continue pretending that they are on our side, and then they need our votes during the election, and then for the next 4 years, they screw us up and they kill our people back in the Middle East. So I'm not going to be blackmailed into that. Whatever happens, like it's weird. I've been only a citizen for 4 years. I was so happy that I voted for Bernie Sanders, by the way.
All right.
You know, and then I voted for Biden because I'm blue no matter who. And then I find this. So you know what? America took 4 years in order for me to make me check out of elections. So good job. Good job. Good job, Biden.